morning everyone, welcome back to the session on fundamentals of computers. We were discussing about the various types of operating systems and also the different desktop icons that we have and the different control panel objects we have. Yesterday in our session we were discussing on, I was showing you how the control panel objects look like and what are the desktop icons, why do we really require those desktop icons, and also what kind of a terminal window do we have instead of a desktop icon in the other interfaces. Generally desktop icons are what generally the desktop icons are something which are having the graphical user interface, that is GUI, whereas the normal terminal window commands are operated with the help of these terminal commands which help us to interact with the operating system. Both the desktop icons as well as the terminal commands are similar in their functions which help the user to interact with the operating system. Okay. And then we were discussing about the control panel objects, what are the different control panel objects that we have and why do we have a control panel for a computer, what is the advantage of it. We were discussing about all of them and we also saw what are the different kinds of control panel objects that are present in the computer. Then also we were discussing about operating system, its definition, its usage and the different mechanisms that we have in operating system, how they are helping us to perform the different tasks that are required for the user. And then the last part is a very basic concept which is about creating files and folders, exploring the folders, files and programs, editing a document file or document files. We will go one by one. I will just show you first of all how a user is able to interact with these files, and then once you have a clear picture of what a file is, what a folder is, and how do you explore these files, folders, programs. If you have this kind of an idea, then we will go into the depth of these things, that is how is the operating system managing them. Otherwise, if I directly go into the operating system management of files, you will be again confused or it might be a little complex for you. So, first of all, those who all know about files, it will be very simple for you, but those of you who do not know what a file is, what a folder is, what are the things that are present in files and folders, and how do we manage all of that in a computer. If you do not know all this, you can carefully examine this and you will understand the different parts that are mentioned here. Okay. So, first we will start with creating files and folders. Generally, a file is the basic unit or the unit in which we write the data into. If it is a program, if it is a document, if it is or any other data, user data, biodata, whatever you want to enter into the system, it is through files. Whatever the input that we give, it is through files only, and whatever is stored on the secondary storage, it is all stored in the files. So, file is your basic unit in which basic unit of data storage, whatever data you are storing, that is in files. And file is not just one type or it is not having a single extension. You can have lots of files with lots of extensions, and all these extensions have its own programs or applications that are performing these files. Suppose yesterday we were talking about the Windows files and browser files, PPT files, different kinds of applications these are, and each application has its own file, and these files help us to understand what data is there in what data is present in that file, and it will the applications or the programs that are related to these files help us to understand what data is written in that file. Okay. And folders are just a way of organizing these files. Suppose if you have 10 to 15 files in your computer in your secondary storage, that might not be difficult for you to remember them, their location, or otherwise what all files are there. It will be easy for you to remember them if you are using it for a couple of days or over a week. Whenever you are using the same files, you will be able to remember what are the contents of those files or whatever files are existing in your secondary storage. But in case you have like 100-200 files, or you have so many files that you have for different categories, suppose now you have different subjects, and whenever you are downloading materials related to that subject or some ebooks related to those subjects, all of them are generally by default we store it in the download section. Let's suppose if you are using the download section for all the subjects without categorizing them, then what will happen? Over a period of time, when you are downloading like 50-60 files, whenever you are downloading a new file, every time it gets stored in the downloads. That will be a default path generally, and if you are using the same path, all the files are being dumped in that downloads folder. Now over a period of time, what will happen? That download folder will have around 100 to 200 files, and it has files related to all your subjects. It has files related to your criminology, it has files related to chemistry, English, computers, all of them. Now each of them are like around 30 files in each subject, and you have overall like 120 150 files in your documents, in your downloads folder or your downloads directory. In such a case, it becomes very difficult for you to understand, analyze what subject is which file related to what subject when you have so many files. So when you consider such examples, the folders concept helps you very much in that in this scenario, where for these 4 subjects we can easily create folders, different folders, and categorize the files that are belonging to that folder. Now you can create 4 folders which is having one folder for chemistry, one for maths, one for English, one for chemistry, one for computers, one for English, and one for criminology. So you have 4 folders with you, and you can easily categorize them. So whatever subject you want to like open, whatever subjects files you want to open, you can just go to that folder and you can open that and you can see the files, and you can open the related file that you want. So that is about files and folders, and then we will see how to explore the files, folders and programs. After that we will see what document files are and how do you edit them. So before going over here, you should have an understanding about the difference between files and folders, and why do we require files and why do we require folders. Whatever topic that you are learning or whatever topic that you are trying to understand, make sure you always understand why and what, and how is it being used. So these 3 questions should always come up into your mind. The same way with files and folders, why do we require files, what are files, and how do you use those files. This is how you have to understand. Okay, so I'll show you now how to explore files and folders. So where were we? We were exploring, we were talking about exploring files and folders, right? So I'll show you first of all what a file looks like, and then we'll see about exploring the folders and files. Okay, so over here, if you see on the desktop, you have so many icons that are available. Each of it is called icon because we were talking about desktop icons. The icons that are present on the desktop, you call them desktop icons. Other than that, nothing else. So in the graphical user interface, you have different icons available, and each icon makes the user easily understand what kind of a file it is, what are the contents of the file. In some cases you might understand them. So this is the desktop that we have, which is the default page that opens whenever you are starting your system, and whatever utilities or whatever files you want to easily access or quickly access, that those kind of files you can put it on your desktop to make sure you will easily those files are easily available for you. So that is about desktop icons, you already know, and we just revised it again. Now we were talking about files and folders. In this, if you see this whole desktop page, in this desktop page you have different kinds of icons. So how do you think like all the icons that are present on this desktop folder are related to your files, or all of them are files? Actually not. Only a few of them or only some of them here are the files that are used by the user or that you can program or that you can store data into, and the remaining of them are known as shortcuts. Shortcuts are, you can call shortcuts as file, but they are not the original file. The original file is located in some other place, and you are just creating a link, temporary link, or you are just creating a secondary link through which you can access the file that is there in some other location. We will first differentiate between files and shortcuts on this desktop page. After that, I will tell you the difference between the location wherever this shortcut is stored and the difference between the file that is stored on the desktop. So first of all, if you see over here, this SHM1, whatever I am putting on the right side of the screen, those are known as the files into which we will be able to send data, and also we will be able to manipulate data, and these are used by different applications for their purposes. So all those kinds of files I am putting onto the right side of the screen. So what are those kinds of files? You can actually identify them when you see the names and the structure of this file. SHM1 maths are 2 files, and then we have SHM, this is also one more file, and report writing is one more file. We have so many files here, and I am only trying to select the files. You have to understand that here, okay. And then work power energy is one more, download is one more, download 1 is the other file, and do we have any other? We have this 12 as one more file. After that, are you able to see any other file over here, or do you think we have any other files over here? As of I know, there are no other files. So let's see, let's try to differentiate. We have differentiated, or we tried to sort all the files onto the right side of the screen. Now I will try to sort all the shortcuts that I was discussing to the left side of the screen, okay. Now let's create this, let's put this shortcut recycle bin onto the left side, and this PC onto the left side, and I am putting all the folders onto the in the middle, okay. Whatever folders we have, I am trying to put these folders in the middle, okay. Now whatever I understood related to folders, I have put them over here, and all the other files that are there, I am trying to put them onto the left side, okay. Whatever are remaining shortcuts we have, I am trying to put them onto the left side. So after differentiating, before we had so many files on this desktop, and we did not know, or it was so clumsy related to each and every file, how many kinds of file, we don't even know like how many files are there, or it was difficult to count. So whenever you are managing your desktop files or any kind of a file on your system, it becomes easy for you with the help of user interface. The reason is, because we have this graphical user interface, I was able to just click on one file, and then wait a minute, I was just able to click on one file, and I am able to drag it and move it somewhere else, okay. This is how we are able to select a file, and we are able to drag it and move it. And also you are able to see the names of each and every file here. Along with that, you are able to see what is the type of file that is available for us with in just 1 or 2 seconds. We are able to identify all the files that are there, and also we are able to categorize files separately. Whereas if you don't, just imagine if you don't have this graphical user interface, and if you only have just a minute, okay, fine. We only have this command prompt. Command prompt is the terminal window that we were talking about, right? So if we only have this command window, and if we don't have these files like this, just imagine when you are turning on your screen, you only have this terminal window available, and you don't have that desktop icon like this. Just a minute. Okay. So initially, whenever you are turning on your system, whenever you are switching it on, this is how your operating system boots up, and this page is open for you. But just imagine if you don't have this kind of a graphical user interface, and whenever you are turning on your system, you are able to see only this screen. In the first generations or in the previous computers, we only had such screens, and we didn't have any graphical user interface. After that, the operating system companies, whatever they have developed their whoever have developed their operating systems, they came up with these kind of graphical user interface, and it was not so developed previously with this kind of graphical user interface. We only had the basic graphical user interface, and now we have evolved into such a graphical UI. Okay, previously it was only like this, and how would you able to communicate, or how would you able to understand what you have to type and how you can organize your files or folders? You didn't even know, or it was even difficult for a basic user to organize his files and folders, or to see what are the different types of folders he had. Okay, so if you had this kind of a screen, you will be able to understand like how difficult it was. So that is the reason we have been provided with such UIs. Now because of this UI only, you are able to differentiate them easily, and you are able to understand what a file is, what a folder is, what a shortcut is. Now you all are able to have an idea about what is a file. Now if you group all these files, and if you categorize these files individually, it will be a folder. A folder is just a parent directory, or the path, the starting path for the files, in which you have all the files linked to that point. You can just consider these folders as just a dot or a starting point. With the starting point, suppose we have computers here, BSc _1 _ computers. When I open this, just a minute. When I open this folder, what are you able to see here? You are able to see the different files that are there. How are you able to see the files? Because this folder, whatever is there, that folder is the starting point or the mounting point for those files. So whenever you are organizing your files in the folder or the parent directory, the parent directory takes care of all the files that are there in that. The operating system just contacts that parent directory which is there, and in the parent directory there will be a list of the files and all the data related to those files. Whatever changes we make to the files in this folder, whatever files we are making changes, that data will be updated to this parent directory. So what is the parent directory for us here? The parent directory here for us is BSc _1 _ computers, and this is one more parent directory, transmission lines. Okay, transmission lines is one more parent directory. In this parent directory we have again multiple files. Okay, these are the different files we have, and in a folder you can save or you can store data of any file. We were talking about different files, right? This is a Word file that we were talking about. This is a PPT file. This is a image file. This is also image file. That like that you have different kinds of files and its formats. All these files and formats can be stored in the folder. Whatever files you store in the folder, they will be having one starting point, that is your directory, and that directory will help you to locate the files that are present in it. So this is about files. Now you know what are files. These are folders or directories, you call them. You have an understanding of both of them. Okay. Now after that we are left only with one thing, that is these shortcuts. What do you mean by shortcuts? These are not actually the files or the data present over here. Before that there is only one point that is left for directories and files, that is whatever data you are storing in these files on the desktop, the data is directly having a link to these files on this desktop, and they don't have any other secondary link, or it is not stored in some other place. It's directly stored on the desktop, whereas the folders are also the same way. There is a mounting point. From that mounting point you have different files in the folder, and these folders are directly having its data stored in the desktop memory location itself. But whereas you have these shortcuts, right? These shortcuts don't have their memory location or their data stored directly in the desktop location. They are stored somewhere else, but we are able to create a shortcut that is helping us to link to the location where it is. Suppose we'll see where Chrome is. Like you have, this is the Google Chrome shortcut, right? So this is the data or the programs that are related to this Google Chrome shortcut are not present on the desktop. They are somewhere in the C drive, but only trying to create a temporary link that is available for us for easy access. Each time if you want to go and open Chrome, you cannot go to the C drive or wherever the programs are related, right? I'll show you just a minute. In the C drive, generally you have your program files. In the program files, where is it? Yeah, okay. Fine. In the C drive, when you go to program files, in the program files, in the program files you will have Google. Google is maintaining this Chrome. So, inside Chrome folder you have your application, inside application you have your Chrome. This is where your actual application and the data related to your Chrome is available or it's stored. But this is the path in which we are storing this application. Whereas, where is the Chrome shortcut available? We have this shortcut available on the desktop. Whenever you are clicking on this shortcut, what is happening? It's directing to that folder which we have here. It's directing to this folder in this path, and in the folder you have your Chrome application installed. Now you might get it out like, we can install, why don't we install these applications directly on the desktop itself? Why should we have to bring a shortcut onto the desktop? If you want to install the programs whatever you want onto the desktop, you can do it directly. But the problem is, how many folders will you create or how many files will you install on the desktop? It becomes a overburden for the desktop to load whenever your operating system is loading, because all your core files are in the C drive, and whenever the desktop is loading, it needs to load with your basic requirements. It shouldn't have an overload with the other program files. So that is the reason we have all the program files in the C drive or whatever is the operating system folder that is there. In that we are storing these things. So that way you will be able to now understand these shortcuts. These shortcuts help you to locate some other location in which the program files are stored. And then moving on to the next part, that is, you have your, what is the next part? You have, we are done with desktop icons, control panel objects, then creating files, folders, exploring files and folders, and programs. That is what we have to see now. Okay. So how do you explore these files or programs? Generally you have the structure of your computer is generally having different drives, and one drive has its operating system loaded. Whatever drives you see here are all related to your secondary storage. That means they are all related to your hard disk. Whatever the primary memory that you have or the primary storage that is there for the CPU to interact with the tasks, all that data or that memory you won't be able to see over here. If you want to see the primary memory that we were discussing previously, then you have to go for something called task manager. Okay. When you go to the task manager, you will be able to detailedly see whatever memory is being occupied by what application, or whatever program is occupying how much memory. So when you click on the task manager, and when you try to see the programs that are running, we already opened this Google Chrome tab here, and we have this my computer opened, and also we have one more folder opened over here. Okay, along with that we have several other PPTs that are opened along with Microsoft Whiteboard and the Teams that is opened along with this command line interface. Okay, so these are all the tasks that are already opened here and they are being listed. So if you see this, see the app section over here, you will be able to see Google Chrome, Microsoft PowerPoint, Microsoft Teams, just a minute, 8, 9, okay, and then you have this command line interface, and you have two Windows Explorers open. So how much each tab is taking or each application is taking in this, you will be able to see the memory division for each of them. When you see this, the highest memory or the highest RAM is used by the Microsoft Teams, and it's having 11 processes being running in that. And then the next highest will be your PowerPoint, which is having, we have opened 3 PowerPoints here. As you can see over here, we have 3 PowerPoints open, and these 3 PowerPoints are consuming around 250 MB of your RAM. Generally your RAM is around 2 GB, 4 GB is what we have discussed, and it's all volatile. So how much ever MB it is or how much ever memory it's consuming, once the computer is shut down, all this will be set back to its original state, and whatever is the new process that is starting, they'll be in this line. We were talking about different processes that are there in the queue, right? So these are the processes that will be in the queue, and they'll be consuming how much ever data that is required by that particular task. You can also see how much internet speed or how much data is being consumed by the network of this application, and then your graphical processing unit, how much graphical resources are being used by this task. No other task is consuming your graphical resources, but only your Microsoft Teams is considering it. And also you can see the power usage, and what is this one, power usage, and just a minute. This is telling you the CPU, disk and GPU time of and consumption over time. It's very low, like over the time how much power consumption is happening, and as of now how much power consumption is happening by these applications. You can see all of that. Along with that, you are also able to see the background processes that are running. Not only the tasks or applications that we open, that is not the only thing. Along with that, there will be so many applications or programs that auto start when you are starting your system. So you have so many other applications that are running, and these applications also have their part contributing to the applications that we open. Sometimes when we open an application, it requires the help of other applications. So that way the other background processes start, and they help you in completing their processes. Okay. So this is about why I am showing you this is you should understand the difference between RAM, that is volatile memory, which you can see in your task manager, and it will be like you won't be able to get this RAM assigned to this process permanently. It's all temporary assignment of the storage unit for this thing, primary storage. And then we have this hard disk space or the secondary storage that we are using. What is the hard disk or the secondary storage that we have? It will be the storage that is provided as the capacity for that hard disk. Generally for this computer in the C drive, it's around 118 GB. So 118 GB is the storage space that is there, and all your operating system files are always stored in your secondary memory, because if you store it in the primary memory, what will happen? Your primary memory is volatile. That means when you shut down your computer, that whatever data is there in that primary memory will be disappeared. So each time you cannot install your operating system, right, and it will be of no use doing that. So that is the reason we need to have some permanent memory along with the temporary memory. That temporary memory is helping you to make the process happen, and this permanent memory is helping you, that is the secondary storage, that is helping you to store data and use it for the processes whenever required. So that is about storages and all. So how do you explore the folders, files or programs over here? Whenever you see this, this is how your computer looks like, and all the folders, main folders that are all that are available in your computer, they are displayed over here. So whenever you want to access something, you can just directly come to this My Computer, and you can click on this right corner where you have search this PC. That means whatever data is there in the storage space or your secondary memory, when you search over there, it will fetch for that particular word or that particular file in the whole of secondary storage. That means it won't only search in the C drive. If you have D, E different drives, it will search as a whole in this thing, so that this search bar is so powerful that you can search for files, folders, or even you can search for any particular data that you have saved on this whole computer. So this will help you to fetch data wherever, whatever it is there in the computer, it will help you to fetch that data. And these are the different folders by default that you get in this Microsoft Windows operating system. And you can create even more folders. So how do you create folders? That is the last thing we will be seeing today, and we will close it for today. So if you want to create a folder, you have to go into one of the directories, or your desktop is also there in the C drive itself. Okay. So wherever you have this user, you have the public, and you have all the folders here. See, you are able to see the public desktop. Always, also with that, in the admin, if you go here, you have the desktop. Whatever data that we have stored on the screen on the desktop, whatever icons you have. Let's see report writing, SHM1, digital class 1, math Shankar 1 or 2. All these files are located in your my computer. See, in this PC, if you go to C drive and if you go to users in admin, you are able to see desktop, right? If you click on desktop, you are able to see the same thing, digital class 1. All the files and folders that are available on your desktop are there in this. That means desktop is a system location. Whatever you store on the desktop, it's always stored in the C drive, and all that data is available in your C drive where you have your secondary storage available. So if I want to create something outside this, or if I want to create in some data in the documents, you just have to right click, go to new and create a folder if you want to create a directory. Otherwise, you can double click on it and you can right click on it and you can rename it whatever name you want, and then along with that you can also create different files. Suppose I want to create a Word document, so I will just rename it and I will just open it. That is how you create files and folders in this computer. In any computer, this will be the same thing if you have a graphical user interface. Okay. After that, what do we have? Just a minute. So we are done with almost all the topics, and so the last thing that we are left with is editing document files. We will see it in the next session, and with that we are almost done with the first unit. But in the next session I will try to explain you about how the operating system is managing these files and folders, and we will see how to edit the documents. With that we will be almost completing the first unit. If you have any other doubts in this first unit, or if you want to repeat me any other topic in the afternoon session, you can just post it in the Q&A session, so that I will repeat those topics for you again. Okay. So that's all for today's session. Thank you.